Hello everyone, Ace here, and today let's talk about the Olympics, or more specifically, the opening ceremony for Paris 2024, which has already become so infamously cringe that you're not even allowed to watch it anymore. Because not only was the video removed from the official Olympics YouTube channel, but there's even reports of people getting copyright strikes for daring to show footage of it, even if said footage happens to fall into the bounds of fair use. Because what would the Olympics be without a few violations on human rights, such as the human right to free speech? Getting back to the topic at hand, however, let's move on to why exactly the opening ceremony has, of course, been so poorly regarded. And I suspect many of you already know the answer, because A, this particular story has already been memed heavily, and B, most people are well acquainted with how exactly the establishment tends to screw things up specifically. The age-old put a chick in it and make her gay. You know, the human shield that the establishment likes to use to deflect any and all criticism. Such as, for example, depicting the Last Supper, but with a bunch of trans and gay people. And let's be clear, the purpose is not to promote gayness or transness. If the establishment truly cared about gay people and trans people, they wouldn't be doing their absolute best to tie gay and trans people to pedophilia by claiming that punishing pedophiles is somehow transphobic. No, the purpose here is to try to piss off Christians by depicting Jesus as something he simply wasn't. So yes, this depiction of the Last Supper has caused a bit of outrage. And for those who think this is not a big deal in any way and shouldn't be criticized in any way whatsoever, consider this particular exchange between Tim Pool and Cenk Uygur, where Cenk takes up the position of, quote, "If you're still offended by people in drag, please grow up." To which Tim Pool simply replies by stating, quote, "Cenk, would you join me in hosting a drag show live event where we have drag Muhammad and Jesus together to prove your point?" Curiously, Cenk has not provided a reply to this particular offer, though I'm sure we are all looking forward to the inevitable response when it does happen. Because surely Cenk would never, ever say something that he doesn't actually believe. And for the record, it wasn't just the Last Supper that was referenced either, as the golden calf was put on display at one point during the ceremony, as was the pale horse from Revelations. You know, the one that death rides in on, which is an amusingly fitting analogy for the opening ceremony itself if there ever was one. There's also the bit with Marie Antoinette, proving that this is a completely kid-friendly Olympic ceremony, and of course, where would I be if I didn't talk about the Assassin's Creed cosplay of Arno from Assassin's Creed Unity, which I'm sure you'll all agree is easily the greatest Assassin's Creed game ever created, and remains a title with absolutely zero flaws whatsoever. And when the Assassin's Creed cosplay is easily the best part of the Olympics opening ceremony, then you know you've seriously fucked up. In fact, this opening ceremony was so poorly received that it has also resulted in some of the sponsors of the Olympics backing out as well. Yes, the opening ceremony for Paris 2024 was such a disaster that it is actively costing the Olympics business opportunities. Speaking of fuck-ups, I should also mention the amenities situation in Paris 2024 and how the Olympians themselves are being treated by the authorities. To summarize that particular situation, let us look to the words of Permaband on Twitter, who stated, quote, "Guests, athletes served raw food and food shortages. Sewage-filled, polluted water likely dangerous for swimmers. Terrible Olympic Village accommodation from painful cardboard beds to scorching heat from environmentally friendly no air conditioner. Accommodation so bad that guest countries pressured France allow them to organize their own air conditioner, chefs, and even mattresses. Burglaries of guests. Not the best look for France on the global stage this Olympics 2024, isn't it? What's happening in Paris and what Olympians from other countries experiencing, quite the embarrassment. But hey, at least that's an unforgettable opening ceremony, am I right, Paris? Money well spent there, I'm sure. But wait, there's more, as Mazil decides to chime in by stating, quote, "To add to the air conditioner part, France is now considering confiscating the air conditioners the athletes own countries brought in for them under the premise that not getting heat stroke gives those athletes an unfair advantage. So yes, that is where we are right now with regard to the absolute state of Paris 2024. It has been nothing short of a complete shit show right from the very beginning, and continues to be an incredibly cursed year for the Olympics, even after the opening ceremony itself ended. And of course, the reason for why this year's Olympics is turning out the way it is blatantly obvious for everyone to see. This is another case of the establishment activists running stuff by trying to forcefully insert politics into absolutely everything, and once again with the usual disastrous results. In this case, actively denying athletes access to air conditioners in a situation where it might legitimately cause health issues, all in the name of showing absolutely everyone how morally virtuous and righteous the activists who thought denying air conditioners was a good idea, because your own personal misery is a good thing for these people. These activists who are ironically themselves being easily the weakest in all of society, as demonstrated by just how completely off the rails these activists will get after facing the slightest bit of criticism. One thing I do need to bring up yet again, though, is the fact that the Olympics is losing sponsors over this whole situation, showing that yes, the tide is starting to turn. It is becoming increasingly mainstream to oppose wokeness and DIE initiatives, as also demonstrated by the fact that a number of companies are starting to drop those said initiatives, because wokeness is quite simply economic poison, as are the DIE initiatives, and eventually even BlackRock will run out of money, and no amount of money printers go burr can ever actually fix that. In fact, if anything, printing more money will actively speed up the decline, because the money that BlackRock has saved up will become increasingly less valuable. Once again, this is of course a situation that will take years to resolve. Much ground has, after all, been lost in the culture wars. The far left have been able to make a very real influence on the establishment. In the realm of entertainment, for example, there are very, very few pieces of Western entertainment that haven't in some way been subverted at this point. So naturally, it is going to take years to fix the damage that has been done. However, as things currently stand, the process for those fixes is already beginning. We will see the day once again where the latest shows, movies, and games are things to be looked forward to rather than dreaded, where people are allowed to actually speak their mind and not have their human rights violated in the name of far-left dogma. And we will once again see the day when major sporting events, such as for example the Olympics, are worthy of praise rather than condemnation. But in any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.